everyone and welcome back. This video is all about the characteristics and structure of skeletal muscle. Let's begin. The muscles that are associated with bones and enable the skeleton to move are termed as skeletal muscles. Each skeletal muscle is an organ that consists of various tissues, including the skeletal muscle fiber, blood vessels, nerve fibers, and connective tissues. Let's have a look on the characteristics of skeletal muscles. Skeletal muscles are under the control of somatic nervous system. That means they are voluntary in action. They are under the control of our own will. They work through contraction, thus they fatigue rapidly. They help in maintaining the posture, stabilizes bones, joints, control internal movement, and generate heat. Structure of skeletal muscles. The skeletal muscle cells are multinucleated. Having many nuclei allows for the production of large amount of proteins and enzymes needed for maintaining normal function. These cells are long and cylindrical in shape, thus they are termed as muscle fibers or myofibers. These muscle fibers are organized into bundles within a muscle. These bundles are termed as fascicles. Each fascicle is surrounded by a connective tissue layer known as perimysium, as you can see in the diagram here. Overall, muscle itself is surrounded by a connective tissue known as epimysium. Each of the muscle cells, means muscle fibers, is surrounded by a plasma membrane. This plasma membrane is known as sarcolemma. The cytoplasm of the muscle fiber is known as sarcoplasm, while it contains all the cell organelles like other cells do. But it has a specialized smooth endoplasmic reticulum. This specialized endoplasmic reticulum stores, releases, and retries calcium ions and helps in the contraction of muscles. Within a muscle fiber cell, proteins are organized into structures called myofibrils. These myofibrils run the entire length of the muscle fiber and consist of smallest functional units known as sarcomeres. Sarcomeres are highly organized arrangement of proteins with light and dark regions. It is the shortening of these individual sarcomeres that lead to the contraction of individual skeletal muscle fibers. The muscle fibers consist of myofibrils, and these myofibrils are composed of myofilaments, which are of two types, thick and thin filaments. Basically, the thick filament is composed of only one protein, that is termed as myosin protein, while the thin filament is composed of three different types of proteins: actin, troponin, and tropomyosin. As in the diagram here, in the first diagram, you can observe the portion of a thick filament. Basically, this thick filament is composed of the tail part of the myosin, while the heads are protruded outward, and these heads are termed as bulbous heads. And in the second diagram, you can observe that the portion of a thin filament is shown here, and it consists of three types of proteins: troponin, actin, and tropomyosin. Before going towards the structure of sarcomere, let's have a quick recap what we have learned till now. There is a muscle, that is a tissue, right? The tissue is composed of cells, individual cells. Those cells are known as muscle cells or muscle fibers. These muscle fibers have myofibrils, and myofibrils have contractile units known as sarcomeres. Each sarcomere have myofilaments, which are of two types: thick filaments and thin filaments. The region between two Z lines, there is the Z line, first and second one. The region of myofibril presence between two Z lines is termed as sarcomere. And the striated appearance of skeletal muscle fiber is due to the arrangement of thick and thin filaments within each sarcomere. Now have a look on the arrangement of thick filaments and thin filaments. The portion where only thin filament is present. Here is the portion that have only thin filament. This is a thin filament and this one is a thick filament. The portion where only thin filament is present is termed as I band, which is present on either side of the A band. This is the A band, where overlapping of thick and thin filaments happen. Here is a thick filament and this one is a thin filament. So, this portion where overlapping of thick and thin filament occurs is known as A band, and this appears darker when we look at the skeletal muscle under the microscope. But at the center, there is somewhat lighter portion. This is myosin protein that is forming the thick filament. So this lighter portion is H zone, which only contains myosin protein. There is no overlapping here. That's why it is a bit lighter than the darker A band. Overall, this is known as A band, and this A band has a lighter portion that is H zone. In the center of the A zone, there is M line. This M line is basically due to the presence of myosin protein that is anchoring this whole thick filament in the center. That's why it is known as M line due to the presence of myosin protein. On either side of the A band, there are I bands. Here it is, and second one here. So half of the I band is on one side and half of the I band is on the other side of the sarcomere. Let's summarize what we have learned about the structure of sarcomere. There is a pair of light staining I band at outer edges, a dark staining A band in the mid, while in between the A band there is a lighter zone known as H band, and H band contains a darker M line, and the Z line separates two adjacent sarcomeres. Summary of the band. The I band have only thin filaments, while the area where both thick and thin filaments are present is known as A band. H zone is the center of the A band where only thick filament is there, while there is the M line in the center of the H zone, which is formed due to the presence of myosin protein. Whenever you will go through the topic or you will revise the topic, these summaries and the concept map will hopefully help you a lot, inshallah. Thank you so much for watching. In the next video, we will discuss the mechanism of contraction of skeletal muscles. Don't forget to share my videos, and if you like it, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Stay connected. Allah Hafiz.